You don't need fancy frameworks to scale. You need someone who knows what they're doing. Here's proof. For this particular Shopify store, those are the numbers that they had before we actually take over. And when we actually did take over in May, you see that we scaled them to 100K per month. In July, we kept scaling. And you see here that we generated almost 300K. And in July, as you can see here, we've scaled to over 500K in just 3 months. So basically, we took this brand from 30K per month and breaking even to $500,000 in sales in just 90 days. And the crazy part is that we didn't use any fancy AI tools, revolutionary strategies, or any complex algorithm to actually achieve that. We used basic media buying principles that 99% of media buyers ignore. Today, I'm going to show you what we did and why the majority of agencies actually fail, and specifically failed them to scale. My name is John Portalios. I manage $1 million per month with my partner Andy through our agency Outbreakers. And here's the thing. Everyone is obsessed with secret strategies and growth hacks that can help you scale. But after managing millions in ad spend, I've discovered something that most agencies don't really want to admit. You don't need any fancy framework or AI tool. You need someone on the driving seat of your ad account who knows what they're doing. And this is actually a problem for most agencies because most of them actually start as freelancers and they manage effectively and they scale businesses with their skills, but this actually falls apart when you try to outsource the work to inexperienced employees. Instead of you managing the ad accounts, you basically hire someone else to manage them for you. This is why the agency space suffers from results. Just think about it. When you are sick, you go to a doctor and you expect the doctor, the expert, to actually help you with your disease. Imagine if that doctor actually hired random people to cure you. Would you be okay with that? This is what you're doing when you go to an agency that actually has a really big name as an owner, but this exact owner never enters the phone calls with you, never actually sees your ad account. You don't really hire expertise. You pay for the authority in the name. By the end of this video, you'll be convinced that expertise trumps theory every time. And I'll show you the lowest friction path to scaling, like we did with this brand. When we took over the ad account, this is what we actually saw. So many campaigns. This is something that we call the overcomplicated mess. Instead of having 2 campaigns based on the budget that we actually see right here, you had 10. This is something that a lot of media buyers actually do, which is basically wrong, to justify that they actually work on the ad account instead of leaving the business flourish. And the reason behind that was a fairly logical one, because as you can see here, those campaigns have specific funnels with different language, different translations, different countries, different funnels. And in theory, this might make sense to you. Yes, I want to expand to different countries. That's what I have to do. But Facebook doesn't actually work this way. You have to know how the algorithm works. And the algorithm, it is not going to let you to spend all this money on other countries. You have to focus on 2 campaigns that are actually working. The second thing that we actually saw inside this ad account is the daily optimization addiction. This is something that we have seen in many ad accounts, that the owners are very, very active, or the media buyers are inexperienced and they want to justify their services. So basically, if we go into a random campaign, you're going to see so many touch points inside the ad account. The campaigns will keep getting optimized by someone, which is a mistake to do it inside your ad accounts. The client was touching the campaigns every single day. And the problem with that is that you cannot actually optimize something that didn't have time to actually learn. So there is no information inside the ad account. You don't leave the ad account to go through the optimization phase. Second thing that we noticed after a thorough analysis of the ad account and Shopify store, we noticed the 90-10 blindness. This is something that we usually see. For example, in this scenario, we've seen it for countries. Specifically, this ad account had 90% of the sales come from UK, but the ad account was optimizing for all the other countries. The first thing that we actually did inside this ad account killed everything. We closed 90% of the campaigns. Yes, it sounds scary, but we have done that hundreds of times and we know how to do it so we don't mess up the ad account. You always have to know that complexity is the enemy of scale. And as you can see here, in the following month, we actually consolidated a lot. But why we consolidated? One thing, first of all, data needs volume to optimize. Secondly, Shopify doesn't lie. UK had 90% of the sales, so this is where we should focus. And of course, we stopped the daily changes because the algorithm needs time to optimize. And you can see that right here. So in April, they have spent 20K, they made 31K back, 1.62 ROAS. And when we took over in May, as you can see, we not only scaled to 100K per month, as you can see here into the Shopify store, but actually the ROAS has been increased. Basically, 180 increase in sales with higher ROAS. And we didn't stop there. Next month in June, we've actually scaled from 55K to 150K in ad spend. So we basically tripled our revenue from 100K to almost 300K with even higher ROAS. We managed to do that with 3 key scaling principles. The first one is the winner identification. Most people actually see a creative with 1.5 ROAS and they think that it's a loser and let's keep testing. But what we actually have seen is that this creative actually had room to growth based on the metrics inside the ad account, based on the CTRs, based on the frequency, based on the CPMs that we're getting from this creative. So we pushed it and the ROAS didn't fall for this particular creative. The second principle is aggressive scaling. Most people out there tell you to increase budget by 20% every 48 hours, but that's actually not how Facebook algorithm anymore works. In the past, yes, the campaigns were being de-optimized, but right now, if you manage the ad account in 2025 and 2026, you'll know that you can push even harder. If the creative is a winner, you can push it to 50 or 100% per day if you know what metrics to look for. And for us, this was the creative that actually scaled us. As you can see here, the distribution isn't normal. This creative is taking all. And when we actually scale it, it keeps getting better. The ROAS is stable or increasing when we keep scaling that particular creative. The third rule is the focus rule. We launched maybe 10 new creatives for the whole month. Most agencies would launch 50 of them. But experience tells you when it's time to scale with the creatives that you currently have, because you need to have focus. And we see that those creatives could be pushed. And when we actually launched new creatives, the overall ad account performance actually dropped. And the last part is actually July. For this particular month, we scaled to 500K in sales, and we basically doubled the spend from 150K to 300K, and the ROAS kept being stable at 1.7. I mind you that the break-even ROAS for this particular business is 1.3, so we're profitable at this point. At one point, we had just 2 campaigns with $3,000 in budget. Most media buyers would actually be scared to actually launch this type of campaigns. But we actually did that and it worked because we actually knew how to do it. The audience that you can see here is broad, so this is how we scaled for this particular ad account. This is not something that every ad account actually can do, but for this particular ad account, we identified that broad targeting actually worked best. That's why we focused specifically on that. Here's what this case study actually shows. You can read any blog out there. You can watch any YouTube video, take every course, but nothing can actually replace having someone expert to manage your ad account and guide the scaling process. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you found this helpful and see you in the next one.